In this video, I'll explain how car insurance works in the UK, what factors influence the price, and how to get the best possible quote, especially if you are a foreigner or a new driver. The cars I've driven have gotten smaller over the years. I started with Toyota Avensis Estate, then I moved to Toyota Corolla hatchback, and now I'm driving Toyota Aygo. And it's not because I wanted to downsize, it's because I moved to the UK. When buying a car in the UK, the first question is not about which car you want, it's about which car you can afford to insure, especially if you've got a baby driving license, meaning you're new to driving. Insurance companies have their data about which cars and which drivers are more likely to get into accidents. And generally, smaller cars are cheaper to insure. But that's not always the case. Some cars that are popular with young and experienced drivers can be a bit more pricey to insure, while cars that are driven by older people can be more budget-friendly in terms of insurance costs. Also, diesel cars tend to be more expensive to insure than petrol ones. Your age and your driving experience significantly affect your insurance rate. If you're young and your driving license is new, then most probably your insurance rate is going to be higher. However, when you get older and gain more experience, the costs go down, especially if you don't have any prior insurance claims. So-called no-claim discount applies to your policy if you drive safe without accidents or just not making claims even if there was an accident. So 1 year of no claims gives you usually around 20 or 30% of discount, and if you manage to make no claims during 2 years, it will give you 30 to 40% of discount. And if you managed 5 or more years without claims, then the discount for your policy could reach around 60 or even 70%. Of course, it depends on the insurer, but in general, they all reward you for your no claims years. So what about no claim discount for foreigners in the UK? Unfortunately, not every insurer will recognize your no claims experience from overseas. So even if you drove for 10 years without any accidents or any claims in your home country, here in the UK you will start from zero. Personally, I drove without any accidents or claims for a decade in Bulgaria, but I wasn't able to transfer my experience, and now I pay £1,000 for the insurance for my Toyota Aygo, when people with no claims years in UK pay 2 or 3 times less for cars with bigger engines and more horsepowers. But even if you find an insurer that agrees to recognize your overseas experience, you'll still have to provide him an evidence, and you have to be completely clear and honest about it. Don't try to fake your no-claim discount, because this not just invalidates your policy, but you also could be seriously charged for it. But what happened if you drove for a few years without claims and then the accident happened and you decide to claim it with your insurance? Well then, your no-claim discount is going to be reduced, or you may completely lose it. But there is a way to protect it. If you add so-called no-claims protection to your policy, then in case of single claim, your no-claim discount will be saved. But remember that this will also increase your premium. And again, if you have 1 or maybe 2 claims, depends on the insurer, it's okay. But if you have more claims, you will lose your discount anyway. And another factor that can affect your premium is an excess. If you're coming from another country, for example from Eastern Europe like me, it can be new to you. But there is such thing as compulsory and voluntary excess in UK insurance. So what is compulsory excess? So this is a mandatory payment that you make towards your claim that is usually defined by your insurance. And another excess, the voluntary excess, is the one that you define yourself. For example, you have compulsory excess £100 and voluntary excess £200. In this case, if you make a claim of £800, then first you pay £300 yourself out of your pocket, and what's left, the 500s, will be paid by your insurer. So these two things, no claim discount and excess, makes people think twice before filing a claim. Because you not just lose your discounts and going to pay more next year when you insure your car, you'll also have to pay out of your pocket anyway. So it often happens that people, in case of some small accident, just negotiate without an insurance company and just avoid making claims. And there are many other factors that affect your insurance premium in UK. So first, additional drivers. Sometimes if you add a more experienced named driver on your policy, the policy can be cheaper than if you just insure yourself. But be careful, it may work both ways. Sometimes if you add someone, your premium also can go higher. Your location matters as well. There are some cities where insurance rates are usually higher than another. According to statistics, the most expensive insurance is in Manchester, Birmingham and Liverpool. And the cheapest one are north of Scotland, Aberdeen, Inverness, Perth and Truro. So if you live in Aberdeen, then you got lucky. But some other statistics also say that London is the most expensive place to insure your car, but I'm not exactly sure how these statistics are calculated. Maybe it's just because people in London usually buy more expensive cars. Another thing that can affect your insurance costs is the start date. If you want to start your insurance on the same day or tomorrow, then it's gonna be more expensive than if you started in 3 or 4 weeks time. And mileage also affects your premium. The more you drive, the more expensive is the insurance. When you request your quote, they usually ask you how much you're going to drive. And the higher the value, the more expensive your premium will be. But if the value you put there will be too low, and then you will de facto drive a lot more, when the insurance case happens, your payout will be much less than expected, because they will calculate the pro rata to your actual mileage and reduce your payout accordingly. So better be careful and try to estimate your mileage realistically. And in case if you drove a lot less than you expected, then some insurance companies will do a refund at the end of the insurance period. Of course, a lot of other factors can affect your quote as well. Your job, your matrimonial status, the usage of your car and security will affect how much you're gonna pay. For example, if you store your car on the street and use it for commuting and business purposes, then you're gonna pay more. Another thing you should be aware of, that if you got into an accident in UK and the damage of your car is too expensive to repair, then insurance might just write off your car and give you money instead of fixing it. In this case, there are two ways to proceed. You can buy your car back, and the cost usually should be less than the market value of the car, and then you just go to some trusted garage and repair it yourself. Or the car will go to the auction and maybe someone else will buy it, repair and sell again. The problem with these written off cars that usually they carry a category, and there can be two categories. Category S, that means structural damage, and category N, that means non-structural. Structural damage is when something is really bad and it affects the structure of your car, the chassis, important parts, let's say. And non-structural, it's usually cosmetic damage, some bodywork or whatever, that is not affecting how the car drives, but still it can be expensive to repair sometimes because of the cost of the labor in the official garages. And so if you buy your car back and it has a category, there could be a couple of issues with that in the future. First, it's going to be more expensive to insure, even if it's just a cosmetic defect and if it's totally fixed, because just on the papers the car is marked as damaged car. And the second problem is that cars with category is harder to resell. Usually people trying to avoid these cars because they don't know what happened with this car before, how bad it was damaged, how good is the quality of repairs, so people often afraid to buy them. Of course, it could be a good idea to buy a car with a category or buy back your damaged car and fix it, in case if you're just going to drive it for a couple of years and then scrap. But if you plan to resell it, then it might not be such a good idea. So in summary, the way car insurance works in UK: first, you pay a lot of money just to insure your car. Then you avoid to make a claim for all costs, because if you make a claim, you lose your discounts, you lose your money, you have to pay excess yourself. At the worst case scenario, they can just take your car and give you some money. That would probably be not enough to buy a new car of the same year and model. But insurance in UK is inevitable evil, because it's illegal to drive without insurance. Obviously, it's illegal even to park your car on the street without insurance. You can only park it on your driveway or in a garage if you didn't insure the car. You also cannot pass MOT if you don't have a valid insurance, and there are many other things you cannot do without it. So yes, you cannot avoid buying an insurance, but there are things you can do to reduce the cost. Here are the following tips I want to share with you to help you to get the insurance cheaper. And so the first and the most obvious way to reduce your premium is to drive carefully, and then next year you'll get your no-claim discount. And the longer you drive without any issues, the bigger your discount gets. Another way to reduce your insurance is to buy a car from lower insurance groups. Avoid buying these fancy, powerful cars, all these Audis, Mercedes and BMWs. They are usually very expensive to insure. Stick with some small petrol, small engine car with little horsepowers and little CO2 emissions. That would be the best bet if you want to get a cheap insurance. Always renew your insurance in advance. Don't wait till the last day. Try to renew it in 3 or 4 weeks before it expires to get the best quote. Add more named drivers to your policy. This can help to reduce the cost, but this is not 100%. Use websites like Money Supermarket or Compare the Market when you search for the right insurer for you. There you can just fill in everything once and get quotes from different insurers. And these quotes will be different because every company has their own algorithm to calculate your quote. So some of them can give you cheaper options. If you're a foreigner, try to transfer your no-claim discount from abroad. If you manage to do that, then you can significantly reduce your premium. But don't lie and don't fake it, because this can end up really bad for you in future. Try to increase your voluntary excess. But don't bump it too much, because in case of the claim you'll have to pay a lot. Consider installing a black box. Some companies offer you to install a device that would track your driving speed, your braking, your driving time and your driving style in general. And then if you are driving carefully, they will reduce your premium. When you buy your insurance, you can choose to pay monthly or yearly. And if you pay for a whole year, it usually saves you around 10% of the price. And remember, never auto-renew your policy. Usually it is more expensive to stay with your current insurance rather than try to find some other better deals. So that's it for today. And that was my comprehensive guide for car insurance in UK, and I hope it will help you to get the cheaper one. If you know any other tips and tricks how to make your insurance premiums lower, please share them in the comments below the video. And don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for my channel for more videos about life in UK.